So in the middle of all that, I was thinking, well, where is the first place in the Bible we read of praying? Do anybody know where that first prayer was answered? Was asked? Well, I found out it was in the 20th chapter of Genesis, and it involved Abraham. Now, Abraham was a sort of a forerunner of the kingdom of Israel, and he'd come up from a place near Kuwait. You know where Kuwait is? Ur of the Chaldees was down the bottom of Iraq, and his father and him had gone up to go to the land of Canaan, but they got stuck in Haran. And then God said to him, well, leave there, you've got to go to this promised land, which is actually Israel today. And so he went down there and he became rich. Lots of cattle, lots of sheep, lots of things like that. And it made me realise that when God calls us, He's not leaving us in poverty. He's blessing us with spiritual prosperity like we have today. We know where we're going. We know what Jesus did. He wants to bless us with natural prosperity. It's all part of His deal. But while Abram was, there's a whole lot of history before this chapter. He had a son. His wife, because she was barren, said to her husband, "Go and have sex with my maid, and you'll get a son," which he did, and he got Ishmael. So now he's got Ishmael, and he's kind of, I think he's a frightened man in some ways, although he seems a big shot. Because whenever he went anywhere, he said to the people of the land, "This is my sister, not my wife." Because he's afraid that the people of that land will kill him and take his wife, right? So this 20th chapter of Genesis is exactly about that. It says, Abraham journeyed from there towards the south country like the Negev, and dwelt between Kadesh and Shur, and he lived temporarily in Gerar. And Abraham said to Sarah, his wife, said of Sarah his wife, "She is my sister." And Abimelech, king of Gerar, sent and took Sarah to his harem. So, I mean, by saving his skin, he exposed his wife to something disastrous, really. But God came to Abimelech in a dream by night and said, "Behold, you are a dead man, because of the woman who you have taken as your own, for she is a man's wife." But Abimelech had not come near her, so he said, "Lord, will you slay a people who are just and innocent? And did not the man tell me, 'She is my sister'? And she herself said, 'He is my brother'? In integrity of heart and innocency of hands, I have done this." Then God said to him in the dream, "Yes, I know you did this in the integrity of your heart, for it was I who kept you back and spared you from sinning against me. Therefore I did not give you the occasion to touch her. So now restore to the man his wife, for he is a prophet, and he will pray for you." The word pray. Here it goes. First time in the Bible. "And he will pray for you, and you will live." No, but if you do not restore her to him, know that you shall surely die, for all you who are yours. So Abimelech rose up early in the morning and called all his servants and told them all these things, and the men were exceedingly filled with reverence and fear. You notice that God actually said to this man, this king Abimelech, who's king somewhere in this land of travel, he said, "I'm going to get Abraham to pray for you." And this is before Abraham did pray for him. He said, "I'm going to get Abraham to pray for you." Abimelech called Abraham and said to him, "What have you done to us?" You know, this is a bit like, I mean, this scene probably has been played out hundreds of times since then. People saying that this is my wife, but they're saying it's my sister or whatever. He called Abraham and said to him, "What have you done to us? And how have I offended you? You have brought on me and my kingdom a great sin. You have done to me what you ought not to have done." And Abimelech said to Abraham, "What did you see in all that you have justified in doing such a thing as this?" And Abraham said, "Because I thought, surely there's no reverence or fear of God in all this place, and they will slay me because of my wife." Have you ever noticed that the fear factor drives us often to do things that are stupid? You ever noticed that? The fear factor drives us to do things that are stupid. So he's actually placing more value on himself than he is placing on his wife. That's not a nice thing. He placed more value on himself than he placed on his wife. You're really saying, if she's taken by this king and I never see her again, it's better that than me be killed. As I say, the fear factor, many factors, but fear factor can make us do stupid things. I know it. I know it from my own experience. They will slay me because of my wife. But truly, she is my sister. She is the daughter of my father, but not of my mother. And she became my wife. Hey, in today's society, this would seem pretty weird, would it? Have your wife, your half-sister, have your half-sister as your wife. Not a stepsister, half-sister. This would seem to him, then, I don't know, whether things were different, but it didn't seem to be unusual. So, and my opinion is that if this woman that he is married to is his father's, she's a half-sister to him through his father, does that mean that Abraham grew up with her? I don't know. Was she brought up in the same household? I don't know. Anyway, truly she is my sister. So in some way, I think he felt like he was justified in doing this and saying she was his sister, rather than explaining that she was actually his wife. He felt it almost a justification to use that, to say that. Actually, know what I'm trying to say there? He used the fact that she was his sister as justification to really keep the truth obscure from this man. When God caused me to wander from my father's house, I said to her, "This kindness you can show me. At every place we stop, say of me, he is my brother." Actually, manipulation. This man was an amazing man, as a man of God. But being an amazing man of God doesn't stop you from doing stupid things sometimes. Well, not doing stupid things, but doing subtly shady things, I would call this. Then Abimelech took sheep, oxen, and male and female slaves, and gave them to Abraham, and restored to him his wife, Sarah his wife. Do you know what? This guy, who he said was in a place where there's no God, this guy was actually a really, really amazing benefactor in giving gifts, in spite of having been tricked. to having another man's wife. I think that's amazing. And he restored to him Sarah his wife. And Abimelech said, behold, my land is before you. Dwell wherever it pleases you. I mean, this guy he's not vindictive, he's not revengeful, is he? No revenge there. He said, you can have a lot of stuff. I've just been tricked into having a wife, and I could have died because of that. And now I'm giving you all this. Isn't that a picture of what? What's the word? Picture of generosity, yeah. And to Sarah he said, hey, this woman is very, very beautiful. You can imagine, he's got a hold of this woman in his harem. It must have cost him something to let her go, because, hey, she's a beautiful woman. And now I have to give her back to her rightful husband. And to Sarah he said, behold, I've given this brother of yours. Listen to how he says it. Behold, I've given this brother of yours, almost tongue-in-cheek, almost slightly sarcastically and acidly, because he didn't say to this husband of yours, he said to this brother of yours, like, you played that game on me. I am just saying this to you, your brother. He didn't say, I'm giving this to your husband. I can think there was a kind of an acidity in there, how he said it. He's given to you 1,000 pieces of silver. See, it is to compensate you for all that has occurred and to vindicate your honour before all who are with you. Before all men, you are cleared and compensated. Completely released that whole thing. Vindicate your honour. Do you know in the Middle East, honour is big? Do you know in the Middle East, fathers kill their daughters when they think that they've dishonoured them. To dishonour your father in some of those countries is just to walk with a man down the street, be in the company of another man without their approval. They call them honour killings. Have you heard of the honour killings in the Middle East? There are thousands. That shows me something about the mentality that love has been, the love for this crazy notion of honour. I'm not talking about what I'm reading here. The crazy notion of honour is bigger than their love for their kids. Anyway, so let's get to the last bit, which is the criteria. So Abraham prayed to God, and God healed Abimelech and his wife and his female slaves, and they bore children. What was the healing? Read the last verse, what happened because of this stupidity of Abraham. For the Lord had closed fast the wombs of all in Abimelech's household, because of Sarah, Abraham's wife. He had actually closed the wombs, like a curse across that whole thing, because of this stupid thing he was doing. And it said, when God prayed, when Abraham prayed to God, he healed that whole household and all those women that had the wombs closed, because it says, and they bore children. For the Lord had closed fast the wombs of all in Abimelech's household because of Sarah, Abraham's wife. Hey? What a story. First place in the Bible, a prayer is answered. Do you know what that prayer? The first prayer that was prayed by anybody that I can find in the Bible was to restore barren, closed wombs of women so they could have children again. What do you think of that? So I thought God was saying, like today, He said, I believe he's saying, just pray for your nation. Pray for your nation.